This will change your life if you actually do it. What we're talking about a simple method, a simple practice, a lifestyle change, if you will, that's not difficult, not hard to master. It's just something that needs to be done daily, consciously. And once you know it, you can't unlearn it. That's the beauty of this. It's so simple and practical that when you start doing it, you start noticing the difference straight away. So if you want to create change in your love, health, wealth, success, and freedom, this technique is going to be mind-blowing, quite literally. So watch this video if you really want to change yourself on a fundamental level so you can experience the life that you truly deserve and know that you can actually have in this lifetime. Let's go. So we're talking about self-talk. Your self-talk is so important. Forgive me for drilling this over and over again, but even if you do this on a regular basis, it's great to keep hearing about it, talking about it, and practicing it. What you're thinking and saying to yourself about yourself on a constant basis. This is what we want to start observing, we want to start catching, and we want to start rewiring. It's a super simple process, and with just such a simple tweak, a little change here and there, you might really surprise yourself about how life can exponentially change for you in such a short time. So the things you think about yourself and you say about yourself, or to yourself, to other people, in text, in conversation, and emails, these become your truths, they become your beliefs, they become your habits, it becomes your character, it becomes everything. So first of all, we've got to know what's going on up here before we can even think about changing it to what we do want and how we do want to be, how we do want to exist in this life. So what we're talking about here is fundamentally changing how you feel about yourself and what you're saying to yourself so you can change it to what you do want. Even if you're not there yet, we've got to rewire ourselves to move into a new reality. So let me just break that down. The negative, unwanted things that you're saying and thinking about yourself and to yourself are reaffirming exactly what you don't want to experience. So when you reaffirm these things unconsciously, sometimes consciously, you're basically setting yourself up to repeat these actions of what you don't want. That's just what I'm like. I always do that. Oh, it's all right for some. I never seem to be able to fill in the blank. Sometimes I stumble, I get overwhelmed. Even if all of these things are true in the moment, we don't lie to ourselves, we don't just change it to, everything's fine, I can do X, Y, and Z, everything's amazing. That's just what I'm like. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's what your past self was like. Right now in this moment, it's a blank canvas. Everything before is one thing. Everything after is what will be, what you decide it to be. And if you're repeating what you don't want, then you're gonna experience it in the future. But this right now is the blank canvas, the fresh present moment where you can change your very being, your entire life. So that's just what I'm like, becomes that's what I was like. I used to be like that. I always do that. No, you don't always do that. The future version of you doesn't have to do what you always did in the past. But you telling yourself that you always do that, whatever that is setting your future self up to continuously do whatever that is. It's all right for some. Yeah, it is all right for some. It is. That mindset of it's all right for them but not me is victimhood. And yes, it might be the case that others are living an amazing life and you're not. But if you decide to take 100% responsibility of your life and decide what you want and rewire yourself to lean into that, then forget what everybody else is doing and what their amazing life looks like. Can you be loving in your heart for that person experiencing that thing? Can you? Or anyone doing better than you in life, is that always going to be like, fuck them? The sooner you start to appreciate others for experiencing their journey, their life, and feeling love for yourself, love for them, and realizing that there's plenty to go around. People doing amazing doesn't take anything away from you, but you pointing the finger and going, oh, it's all right for them, is putting yourself in a lower vibration of victimhood mentality, where you're going to get more of and never seem to be able to. Yeah, if you keep saying I never seem to be able to, you're going to repeat never being able to. So we need to catch these thoughts. I never seem to be able to stay focused. Maybe it's because you're telling yourself I never. So if we change it to, in the past I haven't been able to, but now I'm feeling like I might be able to. That's an optimistic change. You're not lying to yourself. You're just being open to something changing in the future. This is the key. Sometimes I stumble, I get overwhelmed. Well, everybody experiences a bit of depression, anxiety, overwhelmment, stress. But repeating, I get stressed. Even sometimes, in the past, sometimes I've blah, 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 blah. But if we're repeating in the present that sometimes I do this, and to be fair, we're most likely going to get stressed and overwhelmed in the future. But if we rewire ourselves to fundamentally believe that we can handle whatever comes up, then we might notice that in the future when things do come up and we do get stressed inevitably, maybe things are a little bit easier this time. Maybe they're not so overwhelmingly crushing like they can be. It's all in how we decide to look at life. And once we master this, everything changes. So what are you thinking and saying to yourself, about life? This is where we've got to start. If you notice, I don't say anything negative and wanted about myself or my life. And if I do, I'm the first to catch it. Feel free to catch it too. We're in this together. Comment below what it is that you're repeating to yourself and we can work through this together. This accountability, this is why coaching is so amazing. This is why my clients become successful in their stories, is because this back and forth accountability of going, hey, what was that? Pause, reframe it. This is what helps us to change it. So start practicing this, start noting this stuff down and start working this out with your friends and your family and getting each other to spot the times when we're talking negatively about ourselves or others. We got this. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we actually do this? Enough of all the blah, 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 blah. What's the practical step to actually do this and make a change in our lives? We never ever finish a negative statement about ourselves. We have one life. And if we decide to fundamentally love and appreciate ourselves, then you might notice that the world around you will start to love and appreciate you too. But we've got to take the first step. It's a fine balance of walking around confidently or arrogantly. But if you're coming from a place of love and appreciation for yourself and life itself, then you'll notice that things quickly change. Anything that happened in your past does not have to occur in your future. So I was an alcoholic. I was dyslexic. I was depressed and anxious for nearly 10 years daily. I'm no longer an alcoholic. I no longer attach myself to dyslexia, although I enjoyed that tag for quite a long time, as I did the alcoholism. And I absolutely no longer subscribe to being depressed or anxious. And I say this because I've worked through all of these things myself by using these tools daily, on a daily basis, to rewire myself. So whether you're anxious, you're depressed, you're shy, you're not feeling successful, you're lacking in love for yourself, or you're not feeling loved by someone else or others, or anything at all, whatever your thing is, we've all got a thing or multiple things. The present moment, this is the answer. You know, you read about, just got to meditate, got to be present and slow down and breathe and all of this stuff. Hey, I love all of that stuff. But I want to demystify what all that presence talk is. The present moment, right here, right now, if you're looking at me and you're listening to me and you're not thinking about anything else or doing anything else, if you're conscious in this moment, in this conversation, you're being present with me right here, right now, in this moment. And in this moment is a blank canvas. It's like you have a blank canvas in front of you with some paintbrushes and different colors. And this moment, just before you create a picture, is the portal to what you want to experience in the future. So choose what you want to experience in the future. Like I said, I was this, and this. When I realized that I no longer wanted to be these things, I had a choice to paint the picture of what I did want. I wanted to be free. I wanted to feel love, health, wealth, success, and freedom. I didn't want to be an alcoholic. I wanted to learn balance, master balance. I didn't want to be dyslexic. I wanted to be cleverer. I wanted to be an intelligent person. Working on it. And I certainly didn't want to be depressed anymore. We all have moments of depression, but I didn't want to be depressed or anxious. And I was that for a long time. I wanted to walk through life and just be able to handle the things that come up in the moment, instead of just going, ah. So I decided to reprogram myself to be loving, kind, caring, compassionate to myself. And when I started to feel that for myself, when I started to wake up smiling and feeling love, naturally I wanted to project that. And then that's where my business came from. I was happily being a musician, minding my own business, doing other jobs, and this thing just came out of me. I had no choice, because the feeling of love for myself turned into a compulsion to just share it. Love breeds love. You walk into a room and you're smiling, you're gonna make other people smile. Or you're gonna make those negative people go, oh, what's he smiling about? And this is where we split from optimism, happiness and love and joy, or victimhood. Screw you. And it's a clear line. And once you pull yourself up and you shake off that world, it dissolves forever, because you can't unlearn this stuff. And what the downsides? Well, you might turn into a happy, loving person, and some people might not like that, but you're gonna like it, you're gonna love it, and it's gonna be contagious, and it's gonna be addictive, for lack of a better word. You're gonna want to be waking up smiling and bettering yourself and feeling joy. God forbid. Joy and happiness for yourself, for others, for life. So the self-talk that we're talking about, metacognition, thinking about thinking, is everything. It's everything. It's under everything. And if you master this simple thing, and you work through it, and you note down the things that you're saying about yourself, and you start changing it, life's gonna change. And I'm gonna wanna know all about it, so comment down below. Okay, I hear you, I get it, I'm on board, I wanna do it, I'm all in, let's go, what do we do? Right, this is it. Number one, be aware of everything you're saying to yourself. Just observe the mind. Walk through your day, and almost like you're looking at yourself in a film where you're detached from the film, but you're watching someone go through the motions. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just notice what you're thinking about as you go through your day. I remember I never did this. Forever, I was unaware that this is something you could do, separate the mind. I didn't know that this was a possibility. And naturally, I started to do it. And I started to notice myself saying things. And it was like, whoa, what did you just say? And I didn't have these tools at this point, so I didn't know what to do with that. But the awareness of self is the fundamental plateau of all of this. This is the number one. Be aware of exactly what you're telling yourself. Easy, just watch, observe, and witness. Something I call the wow. Watch, observe, witness what's going on. So make a list of anything you're telling yourself on a regular basis. You'll know what they are as soon as you start listening to yourself. You're like, oh, I keep on saying that every day. I am this, I don't have that, I can't do this, I always do this. Just catch these thoughts. If you catch them, you are halfway there. Most people will never do this. But if you just decide to just take this on just to see if things change, you will be overjoyed how simple this process is and how easy it is to go from doing this all the time to never again, or doing it and catching it. Be overjoyed of the simplicity of how easily you can transform yourself through this practice alone. So number one is awareness. Number two is catch the thoughts. Like that. Like, oh, what were you saying? Like you catch a butterfly or you catch a daddy long legs. You don't want to harm it. You want to treat it with care and just put it somewhere else. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not able to, all of these things, catch them. I can't do this. Oh, well, I don't have the skills or the knowledge to be able to set X, Y, and Z up to create a business or whatever. In the past, I didn't have the skills or the knowledge to create a business, let's say. But now, in this moment, this blank canvas, I'm open to learning and leaning in. That's better than saying I can't do that. I'll never be able to do that. I can't set up a business. Who am I to do that? Catching the thought and separating it from right now, the present moment, the blank canvas, to in the past, I didn't think I'd be able to do that. Instead of saying I can't do that, and then changing the ending to a neutral, positive, optimistic ending. Maybe I could lean in and see what happens. It's better than saying I can't. And what you're doing is you're telling yourself, your higher self, the environment, the universe, however you want to frame that you're evolving, you're changing, you're not stuck in your ways, you're not rigid, you're not this is how it is. The world is in a constant state of change. Change is the only constant. So know that, believe that, practice that. You're always changing. Anything that you've been through, that you're holding on to, that you're stuck to, that you don't really want, decide to rewire yourself to experience something else. So that's just what I'm like is a negative unwanted statement. It's you telling yourself in the present that what's happened in the past is always going to be. That's just what I'm like. So we want to change that to, in the past, that's what I was like. Just a simple tweak. It's what I was like. But now I'm open to change. That's a basic change to an ending. I'm open to, even if you don't know how you're going to do it, I'm open to changing that. Is you telling yourself, oh, okay, it's you freeing yourself from X, Y, and Z that you're holding on to. This is the start of it. So like I said, you never want to lie to yourself. So I just can't afford that. That's a negative statement. It might be true, might be absolutely true, but I can't afford that. If you keep saying I can't afford that, guess what? In the future, you might find that you'll constantly be saying or constantly be in a position where you're saying, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. So, tell me, what do we do if our bank account says that we can't afford it? Well, just reframe what you're saying to yourself. So, I can't afford that could turn into, in the past, I couldn't afford that, but now I'm choosing to save up or spend my money elsewhere. It's these simple tweaks. You're not lying to yourself. You're not saying, no, I can't afford it, everything's fine, I'm a multi-millionaire. You're not telling yourself affirmations that you don't fundamentally believe. You're stopping the negative unwanted statements from entering your present moment, which projects into your future. Because we're always in the next moment going through our future, which is always our present, if that makes sense. So you're stopping the cycle. I can't. No, get rid of all I can'ts. I don't have there's so many of them. Catch them all. This is your mission. Once you master this, life will definitely get better if you practice this. So just keep going. Catch them all, write them all down, and repeat this process over and over and over and over until it's naturally a default setting. For me, because I had my wife doing it as well and we caught each other, it was a matter of days until this clicked. And then it's just a case of sweeping up sometimes when you let it slip. But, it clicked and I was like, oh, I get this now. I can't unlearn what I've learned, so I'm just going to practice it. It's just a daily practice. If you put in the practice, things will change. So this will just become second nature. It will become your default setting, and your new positive self-talk will become your new beliefs and habits. All right, so let's wrap this up so you can get on with your day, your evening, and start practicing this, because I know you're dying to just get into the practice part. let's just wrap it up and summarize. Never, ever finish a negative statement about yourself. The only time when I let this rule go is for stand-up comedians, because it's an art form and it's part of the process to see someone expose themselves and self-deprecate themselves so we can laugh, and heal through that laughter, because we all relate to it on a certain level. That's the only time I accept it. I recently told this to one of my family members, and she was doing this a lot in her life. I told her about this process, and she was blown away by the simplicity of it and how easily we can go from, oh, that's what I'm like, I always do this, and finding the fun and the joy in kind of putting yourself down, to stopping that cycle and then feeling more empowered, feeling more love for yourself. You won't go back when you start feeling love and respect for yourself. It's funny to self-deprecate and get a laugh from someone, but it's way healthier if you own yourself, your life, and you make people laugh through other means than putting yourself down. Give it a whirl and just see for yourself. So stop being mean to yourself, stop self-deprecating, stop squashing yourself, and do the exact opposite. Start to watch, observe, and witness your self-talk on a constant basis. The things you're thinking about, the words you're saying to yourself, the things that you say out loud, watching what you're writing to friends, what you're saying, look back through old texts and go, oh, I can see it now, I can see it. And stop. And when you feel it in the moment, when it's on the tip of your tongue, pause. Just pause and reframe it. When I'm working with my clients in the past, they've seen me say, oh, in the past I blah, 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 blah. Or I used to blah, 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 blah. When I've taught this practice to people, I've heard them say, oh, I always do that. And I've gone, pause. And I get my clients to look at even that. I always say negative things about myself. That's a negative self-talk. Even that, in the past, I've always said negative things about myself. But right now, I'm going to break that cycle. I'm going to start to love and respect myself on a daily basis, because I want to see what happens. So we catch these thoughts as they come up. We hold them with care. We don't go, oh, I'm doing it so much. We just love the fact that we've caught it, because if we've caught it, we're evolving. We're getting stronger. We're getting closer to mastering this. And all we do is we do two simple things. We separate this present statement and tune it to the past. I used to, in the past. Then the second thing we do is we just reword that thought to a positive, neutral, optimistic ending. You don't lie to yourself, you just change it to something that works for you, something that you believe in. And simply saying, I'm open to changing that, is better than going, "Wah, this is just what is, I can't." If you got this, it's super simple. It just takes you practicing it so you can experience it for yourself in your own life to go, I got this. And you could do this today. Write these things down, follow what I'm saying, and it'll be like that. You've got it. And it's just a case of every day just practicing and practicing. And why do we do that? Because when we do that, things around us change in our life. The opportunities are always there, but we become tuned to them. I've recently been hanging around some incredibly successful people, and I'm noticing the more people I meet like this, their self-talk is immaculate. I've started to notice with all of these people, these amazing people, none of them disrespect themselves. None of them talk negatively about themselves. It's always positive and neutral, optimistic, because they know the value of this. So if we really want to change and we really want to better ourselves, let's start copying what people are doing that are living the life that you want to be living. Do it even better than them. There's plenty of people that I follow that I love, celebrities and people in the public eye, that their self-talk is terrible. And if they changed it, they might experience life even more amazing than they are doing now. Because when you have love for yourself and you appreciate yourself, life fundamentally becomes a more enjoyable experience. It's undeniable. So this, what we're talking about here, is truly the greatest gift that you can give yourself, to change your mindset, to reprogram yourself for what you do want to be, do, have, and experience. And if you master this simple technique of loving, appreciating, and respecting yourself, then everything will fall into place. Everything will be easier to navigate. So right now, help your present self to let go of your past self, the one that's holding on to X, Y, and Z, to become your best future self. Who your future self is all down to who you are in the present. And if you let go of all the past and dive into the unknown that is the present moment with loving open arms, with the intention of being the best version of you, you're setting yourself up to become the best future self, which will always be in the present. But right now, in this present moment, we can create what we want to become. I created mine. I'm a work in progress, but I'm living my dream right now. My love, health, wealth, success, and freedom is better than I've ever experienced in my entire life. And it's all because there was a time when my past self sat down and went, you know what? Fuck this. I want a better life. I need to change. So I took all this stuff super seriously. I made a lot of sacrifices. I cut off a lot of friends. I stopped doing certain things, bad habits, and studying and working on myself. But the work is good. The self-work is good. It's joyful. Brings you back to balance and peace and equanimity. And essentially, love is always where we're returning to. Return to love in as many moments as possible. And if you can't quite do that, just sprinkle joy into your life wherever possible. Even in the mundane, when you're in a queue, when you're waiting for something, when you're not in the right job or the right relationship. Start sprinkling joy on every moment possible. Watch this self-talk. And little by little, you'll break out of the unwanted negative bad habits and you'll move into the best version of you. I cannot wait to meet that version of you. Let me know down below what negative unwanted patterns you're catching in this moment. Go back through this video, write down this stuff, check out the self-talk playlist if you want to know more. Let's help each other out on this journey of becoming our best selves. So have the most amazing day, have the most wonderful evening, wherever you are. I can't wait to see you on the next video. Check out the next video, by the way, it's totally awesome. I'll see you soon.